You guys have something to say? Don't say anything. Let's. What did you get? Stop. Don't laugh. 3, 2.
Jeez, come on, guys. Come on now.
Dude, stop. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, welcome into the Ordinary Fantasy Pod. My name is Ben Conroy. I'm your host with my man Nate Boudreau, and with me, as always, my brother Matt Conroy. Guys, week 3 is in the books. We are moving on to week 4, and guys, thank goodness there weren't as many injuries this week. That's all I have to talk about. I mean, because honestly, this was almost a clean sheet. There was a couple major injuries, but for the most part, after this massive amount of injuries we've had over week 1, 2, and 3, it's kind of nice. I was excited. All right, this is a great week, guys. And how was your guys' Sunday this week for football, guys? How was it?
Woo! I just got by Steve by the skin of my teeth. I can't believe it. I really thought I had no chance this week. I mean, there was not a single point. If you recall, in week 1, I was talking about that little thing called hope, right? I thought I had hope to win those matchups, week 1 and week 2. But this week, there wasn't a single moment where I thought I had a chance to beat Steve. He was literally trouncing me all weekend. And then going into Monday night, I needed a miracle to beat him. And at one point, I was just convinced the miracle wasn't coming. I shut my iPad off. I went to dinner with the family, turned off the TV, wasn't watching the game. Dinner was over, went back to my iPad, opened it up. What the heck? I don't know how I did it, but somehow I skate by and get a victory against Steve. My linebacker, he had 2 tackles when I shut my iPad off, and he finished with 18 points. Incredible.
All right, that's all about Nate's team. Let's talk about football now. All right, so this week I thought it was cool football. It was fun. We got Travis Kelce, we got Taylor Swift, then we got Kelce Swift again in the next game. I think it was such a fun weekend. A little bit about my team. I have a guy you can probably bring up from the rookie squad because of an injury. We'll get to that later. But, man, just all around great weekend of football.
Yeah, it was. I was also sweating it, Nate. I was sweating it all game long, man. I had 30 points at the beginning, like halfway through the game. And I was like, am I going to get low score this week? What's going on? Whew, luckily, my team pulled it out. All right, guys, let's move it on to news and notes. We had a couple major trades going on. Major. They were huge. I'm just kidding. They weren't huge, but they were decent-sized trades. Matt, you traded Miles Sanders to Bobby for Puka Nacua. Nate, you want to break down that trade for us?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe that Bobby was willing to trade Puka after those 2 amazing weeks that he had, setting a new record for a rookie coming in with 10 catches and 15 catches.
Yeah.
And then the fact that he was willing to trade him was one thing, but then to quickly accept a trade or send a trade, I don't know which one, for Miles Sanders without a lot of other negotiations was shocking to me. I thought he could have done better than Miles Sanders initially, and I think a few people felt that way. Obviously, in retrospect, it looks like maybe he might have made an okay deal. But I know I have it on good authority through some insiders that there were quite a few counteroffers that were sent for that trade. And I know that because one of them was sent by me, and Bobby actually told me he liked my trade better than Miles Sanders, and he was very close to accepting it. He said, I'm going to look at it again in the morning. And then in the morning, he sent me a screenshot of another trade that he received, and he all of a sudden tried to get me to up my offer. He says, look at this other one that I got. You're going to have to beat your offer. And I'm not going to tell you who he asked for.
Let's spill the beans, man. Who's involved? If you're going to talk all about trades, let's go. Let's give everybody the information.
Well, he was trying to lead me to believe that he had a trade on the table for Joe Mixon. And he tried to use that as leverage. He tried to use that as leverage to get KW3 from me.
Art of the deal, man. We all do that.
I refused. He said, hey, listen, let me see you actually accept that trade, and then maybe I'll think about upping my counteroffer.
Well, here's the thing. You and I talked. You got an offer. He offered you for Zach Moss, right?
That was my original offer to him before your offer of Miles Sanders. Yeah, I offered him Zach
Moss. I think is going to have a better year than Miles Sanders, but he's not ranked that way. I think I would have taken that in a heartbeat if I was you. I don't understand why you didn't take that in a heartbeat.
No. I offered him Zach Moss for Puka Nacua.
Oh, I thought he offered to you.
No, I offered him Zach Moss for Puka Nacua. And in fact, when you offered him Miles Sanders, and that's the one he accepted.
I did not offer him that. I got that offer, and I smashed accept.
Yeah.
Dude, there's no – I mean, Miles Sanders, you and I talked afterwards. He's splitting carries. The offense is up and down, splitting, which quarterback's going to play. I like the Zach Moss. I'm just saying, there's no way record-setting wide receiver I'm not going to trade for a guy who's oft injured on a new team with multiple different quarterbacks.
Yeah, and I think maybe his hesitancy with Zach Moss is he's not sure that Zach Moss is going to have the job after week 4. But,
Mm-hmm.
if we watch that game on Sunday with Zach Moss, it's pretty clear that they believe in this guy. It's pretty clear
When
they're
he
going to
gets
feed
away
him.
with push-offs right in the end zone catches, I mean, it's great. He's sneaky like that. Yeah.
Listen, I don't see Jonathan Taylor coming back to the Colts at all this season. I think that's a done deal.
Right.
That bridge is closed, and Zach Moss is going to have the job. But I understand he's probably not going to have trade value until after Jonathan Taylor's gone. Speaking of Puka Nacua, though, I saw a stat today, and it has nothing to do with Puka at all. But
Speaking of Puka, this
Yeah.
has nothing to do with Puka.
well, you'll understand why I brought it up in a moment. Last year, after week 3, do you guys want to know who some of the top running backs in fantasy were? After 3 weeks last year, the number 3 running back in scoring was James Robinson. Number 4
Oh, that was a good start to the season.
Number 4 was Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and number 5 was Cordell Patterson.
JJ.
Yeah,
Right?
Cordell Patterson.
So you had Cordell Patterson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and James Robinson all at the top of the rankings after week 3 last year. Maybe gives you a little bit of pause before you go spending too much on some of these newer players that are the hot shit in the first couple of weeks. They might not be the hot shit after 7, 8, 9 weeks is all I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's when people usually fall prey to the selling high, and they go for those, and then they regret it halfway through the season.
I'm just glad we found out Puka's floor this week. That's a great floor.
Yeah,
it's a great
12 points. I mean, you got to be happy with that.
What do you
That's
guys
what I'm saying.
Right? Yeah. I'm with you.
I made the trade knowing that Cooper's going to be back, or expecting Cooper back in week 5. He's going to get 10 targets a game moving forward. Now it may be way higher than that, but that's what I made the trade for. That when Cooper's back, he'll take the ace coverage away, but Puka will still get 10 targets ish, and that'll be his number. And with his hands, that's 8 to 9 catches and close to 100 yards every week, or in that range. However it works out.
I'm not sure I understand that math though, because with Cooper back, getting 10 targets a game, but in this game,
no.
Cooper,
Puka keeping 10 targets a game is that's what I'm saying. I think Puka's floor is 10 targets a game when Cooper's back.
That's what I'm trying to say. So how is he going to get 10 targets a game with Cooper on the other side when in this game with nobody on the other side, he only got the 5 catches? I mean,
because they were scheming for him because there was no Cooper on the other side to take away that ace coverage.
Okay. Now we'll have to see how it goes. I mean, listen, he didn't have an excellent game by his standards, the amazing standard that he set, but 5 catches for 72 yards is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, it's still a pretty decent game for a rookie. So it'll be interesting to see how he does moving forward.
That's a pretty decent game for most receivers in this league. I mean, not the big name receivers, but you get 70 yards and 5 catches. You're stoked.
I'm super stoked. This game did not scare me off, did not make me think I made a bad trade. I think it's an awesome trade still.
Yeah, good trade on you, man. I think you did great. And I was laughing so hard when you texted me. I smashed that button so bad. I texted Bobby directly after that. I was like, what the hell are you thinking, man? Anyways, Nate, you traded Justice Hill to Bobby for Rashad Bateman. Matt, talk about that one.
Yeah, I'm not positive, but I think Bateman's hurt again, right? Is that he got banged up this week? Yeah. And Justice Hill, he's splitting carries like I've said every week on this pod now, since Dobbins went down. They brought up Melvin Gordon. Kenyon Drake got a carry this week. Justice Hill's going to get a carry. They're all going to be involved. They're all going to get somewhere between 6 and 12 carries a game, depending on game script. And with Rashad Bateman hurt, I mean, Zay Flowers is definitely the number 1 in that team without a doubt. We thought Mark Andrews should be number 2, but I don't know if they have a number 2 in that team because he's not doing much either. It's kind of a trade like I'd love to make, bottom of the roster, churn it over, put them on new teams, and just see what happens. I mean, it's not, it could go either way. Neither could win, or they both could win, I guess.
If you guys knew how this trade almost backfired on me, let me tell you.
Oh, I know.
Well, here's the thing: is fantasy sports is hard enough, right? Like, even if you do
for some of us,
week,
Ben seems to be acing it.
Yeah, even if you set a perfect lineup every week, even if you make perfect trades, you make no mistakes all season long. It's still hard to win because there's so much variance in fantasy sports. Now, if you're making mistakes and like stupid, boneheaded mistakes, it can be really hard to come back from that. And on its face, I still like the trade Hill for Bateman. But the mistake that I made, which some of you probably saw on the thread, was that I over leveraged and put too many wide receivers on my team. I had already decided I was playing Tank Dell this week. He was in my starting lineup. But after I made the trade, I had too many wide receivers and I couldn't get anybody to trade me to get rid of one of my receivers. So that forced me to put Tank Dell back into my practice squad only for that one reason and that one reason only. Otherwise, he was starting no matter what. And he got me, 28, 29 points. Bateman only got me 1 point. So it almost lost me the week. Thankfully, Steve bailed me out there on Monday night. But
was it an extra burn that I used him in side league to beat you? Tank Dell.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even notice that, but yeah.
I love that guy. I got him in
awesome.
Dynasty, man. I love that kid. Here's the thing. I was listening, I think it was a late round podcast with JJ Zacharyson, I think is his name. Okay, I think it was him. He was having a really good point about, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, these smaller Zay Flowers receivers, the Devontae Smiths, these slight guys, with the way we play defense, they couldn't last. But nowadays, you can't touch anybody. You got to give them so much room. He says, don't ever think about a small receiver not being able to play outside again. He goes, find the little guys. Find the Tank Dells. Find the Zay Flowers. Find the guys with speed because they can't get hit anymore. They can barely get touched off the line. Forget everything you know and play these little tiny guys. So I'm drafting that way going forward.
Tariq Hill. Can we just say Tariq
Different?
Hill?
No, he's not slight, dude. That dude is jacked.
Yeah,
but
he's
he's
tiny.
These guys are
Short.
skinny. No,
He's tiny.
He's short.
He's tiny.
No, he's short. He is he's ripped.
Okay.
These other guys are slight. They're skinny. They look like twigs standing out there on
Yeah,
legs.
Jordan Addison, that style
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
I mean,
but they're going to
small.
work nowadays.
Yeah, they
The
work.
Wandale
because
Robinsons, the
Wandale
Rondale Moores.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the speed is what kills, and yeah, man, that trade. I don't know. I don't know about Bateman, but let's move it on. Who cares? All right, let's talk about injuries.
Yeah, that's how we should have started that segment.
Yeah, I know. Let's talk injuries. We had one real major injury this week, and this guy just cannot stay healthy. I don't know what his deal is, but he cannot stay healthy. And this is Mike Williams for the Chargers. Nate, you want to lead us off on this one?
I don't have a lot to say about Mike Williams. I've never been a Mike Williams guy. I mean, the way he plays, it's no wonder why he always gets injured. I mean, this guy throws his body in the air, and every catch has to be a circus catch. And whatever. I've never been a Mike Williams guy to begin with. I would never draft him, but I am interested to see how this is going to shake up the entire Chargers offense moving forward because he was a major cog. Now, I know, Ben, you think Joshua Palmer is probably going to be the biggest benefactor of this, right?
I would think so just right now because I don't think the rookie Quentin Johnston right now has shown enough. You know what I mean? He had the times he's come in, like they've targeted him a few times, but he hasn't really shown out. He hasn't shown anything really major. And I think he's still kind of learning the playbook and everything like that. So yeah, I think Joshua Palmer's the guy, third round draft pick. He's been there for,
how many years?
It seems like.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple of years, yeah.
He's never demanded targets before with all the injuries.
Last year,
I don't know that he will now.
Last year he played well.
Yeah,
with the guys out, and I think he's going to step up in this situation and be Herbert's guy. You know,
well,
I mean, obviously Keenan Allen's the guy. He's to be the guy that takes the other spots.
Hey, with
targets.
that Keenan Allen comment, I texted the group on the weekend. I thought I saw a wrap on his leg. Has anybody seen anything about that? See that happen? I thought he had his hamstring wrap sitting on the bench.
I saw that comment you made, but I was watching that game and I didn't see him look injured at all.
I didn't see the wrap, but what I do see is I see a receiver in his 30s who is taking heavy quantities of the targets, receptions. I mean, they're going to need to ease up on him a little bit. I don't think he can continue to play at the pace that he's playing at right now. Keenan Allen, I mean, he's got as long of a history with injuries as Mike Williams does.
Yeah.
Right? And I know the reason that he's getting a lot of volume is because, because Eckler's out, right?
Eckler's out, exactly.
Yeah, so it's all going to Keenan Allen. But, I mean, if they keep on using Keenan Allen at this pace, he's going to be the next one that's injured. So I hope that Josh Palmer does get more involved, and I hope that Quentin Johnson gets more involved. I think Quentin Johnson's probably, he's the star. He's the future there for that team, and they got to get him involved if they're going to be successful this year.
He looks the part. He's big. He's got the long hair. He looks like a typical stud wide receiver.
I heard at the end of the summer something I read was he's catching everything against his body and not out with his hands, and that's why he wasn't starting. So I don't know if he can fix that in 3 weeks. Like I have him. I hope he does, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Josh Palmer is the guy. in our league. He's gone. But if you're out there looking for somebody, he might be out. He might be available on the waiver wire in a deep league or in a 10-man league or something.
Oh, he
So go
is.
out.
Yeah, I think he is in our side league. I mean, there's a few leagues that I play in where Josh Palmer's sitting on the waivers.
Yeah, nobody had the foresight to pick him up like I did. It's all good. It's a talent. It's something that you'll strive for it. All right, guys. Let's talk about the signing of the week. The signing of the season. That was hard to say. Jets signed Trevor Siemian, guys, to the practice squad. Who wants to talk about this gem?
Oh, let me. This is so exciting. He can't be worse than Zach Wilson. Next segment. I mean, like, he's just like, maybe he's okay, maybe he's not. He's been in the league. He was drafted in 2016, I think. So he's been in the league 7-8 years. It can't be worse than Zach Wilson. I mean, it really is all you can say. I don't know anything else.
I think there's more you can say. Here's the thing. Trevor Siemian is probably not ever going to be a player of significance in fantasy ever again. But what I think today's signing signifies is that they're at least exploring the option of adding another quarterback. They're at least starting to recognize that they've got a Super Bowl caliber team. They've got one of the top 3 defenses in the league. They've got superstars at running back, wide receiver, all up and down the team. They're built to win a championship this year, and they're starting to realize they're not going to win that championship with Zach Wilson. Now, is Trevor Siemian the last quarterback they're going to pick up? I don't know. There's a couple of other options I think that may become available. I've heard a lot of rumors about the 0-3 Vikings in the final year of Kirk Cousins' contract, how they don't think he's going to resign with them.
I don't buy that.
I've heard that too.
They've been saying that all offseason. That's nothing new. They've been saying it for 6 months, but I just
here's another one to think about. What about the Cardinals? The Cardinals.
Kyler Murray.
To pick up, well, here's the thing. Yeah, Kyler Murray's tweeting out now that he's healthy and he's ready to come back. But everybody's saying that Dobbs has secured that job because he's been playing so well. Hey, you got 2 guys. Whether it's Kyler Murray or Dobbs, at least dangle one of them and see if you can pick up a draft pick.
I was going to go pick him up everywhere tonight. You're going to ruin it. Oh no, nobody will hear this. Never mind. All right,
nobody will hear this. And I just heard somebody else say that you should, if he's available, go stash him.
Well, Kyler Murray is not available in our main league. Justin picked him up weeks ago or last week. But here's the thing: is we know that the Cardinals are rebuilding, right? And we also know that the Jets have a first-round draft pick because they traded that first-round draft pick for Aaron Rodgers. But when he got injured, it became a second pick, right? A second-round pick. It was conditional. So they still have that first. If the Jets are serious, they can still turn their season around. They're 1-2 right now. Why not go out and use that first-round draft pick to try and get a Cousins, a Kyler Murray, or somebody like that? Even a Tannehill. Why not a Tannehill? Right?
Because they've seen him play. That's why. Okay, all right, Jets, go do the Jets thing.
Look, I've heard the Cousins thing numerous times this season already, and I think it's crazy to think about because it's like who would give up a stud like Kirk? I mean,
a stud.
Yeah. Well,
he's
a good quarterback, man. He's a good quarterback.
He's an average quarterback. He's like,
top
9th last year. He's averaged like 12th to 15th, probably. I mean,
okay, but
what's the record this year?
0-3.
Yeah, 0-3 with some of the best receivers out there. He's a great quarterback.
Their defense hasn't been great, and their running game is not great. So you can't blame it all on.
You
Cousins.
went for 125 this weekend. What are you talking about,
Matt? You couldn't see a Kirk Cousins on the Jets making a deep playoff run.
Not this year. No.
Okay. Even with all those weapons they have.
Could you see him playing
there? They don't have anywhere near the weapons that he has. Now they have a better defense, like 100% a better defense. I get that, but he has way better weapons at where he is, and he can't get it done. So, and he's never been able to get it done for him. This isn't a Stafford situation where Stafford was really good on the Lions and they were just terrible, and the Rams were able to get him there. This is not that situation in my eyes, anyways. I don't see Kirk Cousins anywhere near Matthew Stafford's level.
Well, in fantasy, he's been doing great. So if you're looking to play him in fantasy, Kirk Cousins is the guy that you definitely could be happy with. And that's what this is about, fantasy. So here we go. All right, guys, let's move it along to our Around the League recap. We're going to talk about 4 different leagues right now. Let's talk about Dynasty first.
Yeah, so in Dynasty, we have a very competitive league. We have Adam, Matt, and Justin at 0-3, super competitive. We have Dre, Nate, and Jeff at 3-0. And I think Bobby, even though he's not 3-0, still has the best team. He scored 196 this weekend. I know both of you think that that's not true because you both think you're championship teams. So 30 seconds from each. What do you guys think?
I'm struggling right now. My team, I still put up like 150 or something like that. But I got some question marks with Eckler and some other things coming back. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm quite the same team as I was last year, but I still think I'm going to be in the playoffs for sure.
Bobby's team is fine. He's got a top 3 team in our dynasty league. His running backs leave a lot to be desired. I mean, Saquon Barkley's been injured, and Alvin Kamara, we'll see what he brings to the table. He wasn't very good last year. I wouldn't be going and putting Bobby at the very top of the power rankings. You got to beat the champ first, and I'm the defending champ.
All right. Well said. Well said.
Got to beat the champ first. All right, let's move it on to Gilly, guys. Let's talk about some guillotine, which I'm not in anymore.
Such a fun league, brother. I wish you were in it.
I know. I blew it.
But in that league, we will go with heads will roll this week because Megan lost, and that was her team name. So Megan got the blade. I barely survived. I mean, I squeaked in there. Thank God for Megan. So I got a question for Nate since he's still in the league. So far, the top guys in the league who have been available on waivers have been DK. He went for 552. CeeDee Lamb for 351. Eckler for 400. Puka at 333. And Mostert at 320. This week available are Bijan, Olave, Kittle, and Michael Thomas. Which one of those things goes for the most?
Well, I mean, it should be Bijan, right?
Bijan.
I would put real money on betting that Bijan goes for the most this week. But it's been a little bit confusing about, like, do you guys really think DK Metcalf is worth 552 when CeeDee Lamb was only 351 in the same week?
No, not even close.
You're right. Not even close. I have no read.
And Puka 333 to DK or to CeeDee's 351. They shouldn't be $18 apart. I mean, CeeDee's, come on, CeeDee Lamb.
So I have no read for the rest of the guys in this league. We're still in the early stages of the league where it's like a lot of people, like we saw last week, somebody didn't even set their lineup. He still had Nick Chubb in his lineup last week. So it seems like maybe some people aren't really paying attention at the moment. It'll be interesting to see what happens a few weeks from now. But yeah, I think Bijan should definitely be the number one guy that goes this week. How much he's going to go for is what I'm curious about.
What's
because of the down week this week? I think he is suppressed and he goes for like under 300.
What do you guys got? What do you guys got left in your bank accounts?
One of my leagues,
roughly.
Yeah, one of my leagues I have like 650, and the other one I have 1,000. I've only spent like $10, so like 990.
Okay.
I think I'm above 720 in both leagues.
Okay, so you guys both are still in the running for these guys. So
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, well, I would see Bijan, definitely Olave. Those are the top two. It's interesting, Michael Thomas. He's been having a little bit of a comeback this year. So
we talked about it last week, and I'm starting to come around.
Yeah, you should.
Yep, I know.
Side league, guys. Let's talk about side league.
This one's so fun, dude. So fun. Sorry to cut you off, man. I just love talking about this one. All right. So last week, Nate gave us a little insight that his wife was not having fun with the league. And I made a joke to Jamie to go out and trade, hey, if somebody's going to be down on their team, go get their pieces. Instead, I went and tried to get her pieces, and she traded well. I mean, we both won. Portia made her trade. She got her win. Good on her. Bobby, give her credit next week. All right. So and fun league. Nate, what do you think?
Can I give a little inside baseball on this one?
Yeah, please.
So after we recorded the podcast and Matt said on the pod, you hear that, Jamie? Go send Portia trades. So I'm sitting on the couch like 3 hours later, and all of a sudden I get a text from Matt, and he says, "I just sent Portia 2 trades. Stay out of it." So those words, "stay out of it." I was like, "Ah, shit! What did he send her?" and I'm thinking these are going to be horseshit trades, right? But I go sit down in Portia, and she opens up her phone, and she's like, "Okay, this player for this player, this player for this player." I'm like, "He sent you 2 really good trades. Hold on. Let me look what the trade calculator says." No, the trade calculator agrees with me. They're both really good trades. Like, there's no reason to counteroffer those. You should accept them both. And she did. And then she won. So
and she won.
Good on you, Matt.
Yeah. No, hey, I wanted everybody to be involved, and I got the pieces I wanted because I think Cam Akers that I got is going to be good in Minnesota, down the road a little bit. I got paired with Stafford. I got Kupp. Now, not all in the trade, but I'm just saying I'm putting those pieces together. I love what I had. And to get Elijah Mitchell, who I know you're high on in their league. I really wanted to play him against you this week to beat you with him. Didn't work out. I had better players, but that was a little bit of it too.
Yeah, and that was before the Cam Akers trade. So Cam Akers was still like on the trade block, which we had heard before. That last year he was supposedly on the trade block, and we see this all the time. Guys are on the trade block, they don't get traded, they don't get played. So she was actually going to be dropping Cam Akers. She had already queued it up to drop Akers for Ford. So I was like, well, you were going to drop him anyways. You might as well make that trade and just drop the guy that he's given to you if you get Ford. So yeah, it worked out, and I think I was happy to see that you weren't trying to take advantage of my wife in the trade market there.
No. But is it disrespectful to her that I'm not, though?
No.
Okay. Because sorry. Damn.
I think in a
family, I did good or bad now.
In a fun family league, it's nice to see that you're not trying to, take advantage of the rookies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's talk about the main league a little bit. Who wants to? Matt, you jump in.
So everybody in that league has a win now, so that's cool, right?
Everybody
doesn't? Yeah, everybody got a win, right?
No, there's one team that still doesn't have a win.
Oh, who is that?
I believe that's my good buddy Steve that I just beat.
Oh,
yeah, he's 0-3.
Just wanted you to say it out loud, buddy. All right. So Nate and Dre both squeezed out wins this week. Nate's was pretty close, but I think it was like 1.5 points, something like that. Dre won by 0.46 points. Another reason why this fractional scoring is just so much fun. 0.46, less than half a point. And on the other side of it, I beat Sean by 105 points. Is that the biggest deficit ever in our leagues?
I'll answer that in a second, but
for teams that set a lineup, because we have a couple 200-point victories, but it's because they didn't set their lineup. That doesn't count.
Quick correction, commish corrections. Looks like there might have been a scoring correction because Dre actually beat Ryan by like 4 points. So I'm not sure where you're seeing the point for.
Oh, so that did probably get a scoring correction then. Okay.
Yeah, maybe there was like a pick six or something where an extra 3 points was deducted.
Okay, good cleanup. Good cleanup.
Yeah. In our record book, I believe there is a largest.
There is.
Yeah,
it is, but all 4 or 5 teams that are there sat their team for the week, so it was a 195-point victory or something. They had an illegal lineup. I tried to find it because I wanted to vet it to see if it was 105. Could be the biggest ever, guys, in a legit game.
I guess there's no way for us to know.
Yeah.
We'll just say it was.
I'm claiming it as a record. Bam.
There you go. So you got the biggest, lowest scoring deficit and the highest scoring deficit. Is that what you're saying? You got both of them?
No, not high scoring, just lowest score ever.
Yeah,
the guy who beat me also had a low score, so it was all right.
Okay, that's hilarious.
All right, yeah.
All right, guys, that was our. Oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
The last part of this in the main league is we had another bad beat jackpot this week. Nate, you still think this is a great way to use our side money?
Yeah, listen, it's been obviously unexpected that there's been 2 bad beat jackpots this early on, but theoretically with 14 teams, you shouldn't see it as often as you see with 12 teams, right? There's 14 teams. And last year we only saw it once. So the fact that we have more teams this year and we've already seen it twice, it's a bit of an anomaly. I don't know if we'll see it again this year. There might be some years where we don't see it at all, but yeah, it's definitely funny that it's happened twice.
You're still selling it. I love it. You'll never see it again.
I hope it happens every week
Me
from
too.
this point on.
At least one more time.
Oh, are you done now, Matt?
I am. All right.
Okay. That was your round of the league recap. Woo! All right, guys, we're gonna move it on to a game. We're playing a game again.
Yes.
I love this part of the podcast. This one's gonna be called "Can We Fix It?" And we're gonna start out by we're gonna take a look at some of the lowest scoring teams across the various leagues and see what moves might be able to make to turn their season around before it's too late. All right, let's take it away, Nate.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to talk about first the Dynasty League. I could have picked from 2 teams to analyze in the Dynasty League, but because one of them is on this podcast, I didn't want to embarrass him and make him too sad at the moment. He's actually the lowest scoring team, but the person I'm going to talk about is a team, I believe it's pronounced Genus Panthera. That's Adam's team.
Yeah.
Genus Panthera. He's actually second to the bottom in points. He's got an 0-3 record. And, when I look at his team, I'm trying to think to myself, obviously, he's not going to win this year. So, can I fix it this year? No. But this is a dynasty league. So, what are the moves that he should be making right now to put himself into contention so that over the next 2-3 years, he could maybe vie for a championship? So, when we look at his team, I see the obvious glaring hole is quarterback. He's got Geno Smith, 32-year-old quarterback, but beyond that, Desmond Ritter, and then he's got no QB3. So, he's got a big need for quarterback there. And, as we know, there is a pretty good quarterback that's coming up in college, but there's no way to guarantee that Adam's going to get that first pick to get Caleb Williams, right?
Right.
And so I don't know that he can bank on that number one pick. So maybe he needs to make some moves now to acquire more draft capital, because the more picks you have in the first round, the better your odds are of getting Caleb Williams. So I took a look at his team to see what could he do to try and get more draft capital. And, he's got a lot of youth on his team, especially at running back. I mean, Brees Hall and Najee Harris, 22 and 25 years old, respectively. These are both, good young RB1s, right? He also has some good young wide receivers, Christian Kirk, Sky Moore, Nico Collins. And then he's got a tight end who isn't great yet this year, but Michael Mayer was a first-round pick in most dynasty leagues. So he's got some building blocks to build from. Here's what I think Adam needs to do. As you guys have heard me say on this very pod before, I'm a big believer in the philosophy that when you're building a dynasty team, what you want to do is you want to build quarterback first. Make sure you have your quarterback of the future, because quarterbacks can be good for 10 to 15 years. And then add wide receivers second, because wide receivers, the studs, can be good for up to 10 years or more. The last piece you want to add is running backs. You shouldn't have competitive running backs until you're ready to compete. So what Adam should do right now is he should be trying to shop Brees Hall and Najee Harris. Now, the advantage that he has is that these guys are both young. The disadvantage is they both had a bad week this past week, so he can't do it right now, probably. He's not going to get value if he does it today. But a few weeks from now, maybe halfway through the season, he's going to start looking at all the competitive teams in the league, and there's going to be a few teams, a Bobby, who's weak at running back, maybe a Megan, maybe a Joe. There's a few teams that might be in contention for the title this year that need a running back, and they're going to be willing to give up a first-round pick for a Brees Hall. Because Brees Hall, if you go on Keep Trade Cut right now, it's saying that his value is a middle of the first round. Right now, Keep Trade Cut is saying that Najee Harris, his value is a high second-round pick. So what Adam should do is he should trade these two running backs, try and get as much draft capital as he can, so that next year he has the best chance he can get to get Caleb Williams. And then if he has 4 first-round picks, he can use the other ones on some wide receivers. I wouldn't add running backs until he's ready to compete. He already has 2 first-round picks right now. Add 2 more, I think he'll be on the right path. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the way to go. Brees Hall, Najee. Najee is going to be tough to move, I think, to be honest. I don't think his value has gone down greatly over the last. He was drafted high, and I think everybody was really excited about him, and even fans there were really excited about him, and now they've started to complain about him. So I think he's gonna have a hard time getting rid of Najee, but definitely I would think that the way to go is Brees Hall, get that first round pick. That's how I see it the same way.
Yeah, we were talking earlier in this podcast about how fantasy's hard enough, and that makes it even harder when you make mistakes. Think about this. Last year, not this year when we did our draft, but last year, Adam had the number 1 overall pick, and Brees Hall was expected to be the first pick in most drafts. But Adam wasn't competitive yet. Instead of drafting Brees Hall, what if he would have traded back and maybe acquired some more draft capital and used that pick on Garrett Wilson instead of Brees Hall? Or the year before last, he took Najee Harris. He had the number 2 overall pick. What if instead of taking Najee Harris, he took Jamar Chase? So right now he could have Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase, plus these other receivers he already has, Christian Kirk, Nico Collins. He could have a nucleus of young stud wide receivers. Now, of course, there's nothing that Adam can do about that. We can't go in a time machine and fix his past 2 drafts, but just something to think about moving forward. If you're not competitive, maybe don't take a stud running back in the first round, because by the time you're competitive, he's not going to be a stud anymore. These guys are only good for 3-4 years.
That's a smart way to look at it. All right, let's move it on to the main league, Matt. Extra Super Damn Fun Bitch has an 0-3 record and middle of the road in points. Let's talk about him. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, Steve's team comes down to injuries. I mean, most of those big guys, Samuel's hurt, Cooper's hurt or was hurt, Kelsey was hurt, DK Metcalf left a game hurt. So, I mean, I think Steve is just injuries has been the reason. If he would have made the decision to start Love this week over Hurts, which I know he probably wouldn't do, but Love's looked really good, he would have easily won this week and be 1-2. He scored 159.48 this week. He's not a low scoring team, he's a high scoring team. So even though he is 0-3 and he's the only winless team, it's really just injuries. I mean, I don't think there's anybody on the waiver wire he's going to pick up. I mean, his bench is Burrito scored 10.8, Mitchell 7.4, Pirine 4.4, who they like on that team. So I doubt as your last running back, you're going to drop him. Nelson Aguilar is getting run. Odell Beckham's hurt. Oh, that's another injury that he has, Odell Beckham. So, yeah, I think Steve's just injury-related, and I think he's going to turn around real quick.
Is there anything you can think of to fix it, to do anything?
I don't know that. I mean, unless he wants to trade Love, because I've been saying the whole time, I don't think he should be holding 2 quarterbacks in this league. Don't think he should be holding 2 tight ends. You should only have 3 running backs and 3 wide receivers on your bench. That's the way you get the most ability to trade. You have the most chance of being right on people. The waiver wire should be full of quarterbacks and tight ends, so he should trade Love. But then again, who are you going to trade him to in this league besides, Sean? Sean needs a quarterback. I should trade him to Sean because he has Justin Fields. But I mean, that's really the only trade. Like I said, he scored 160 points. He would have beat all but 4 teams in our league this week. So, I mean, I don't think there's that much wrong with his team.
I can think of 2 trades that would help Steve. I mean, if we're looking at his running backs,
there's a million trades, yeah.
If we're looking at his running backs, I mean, he's got Damian Pierce, who finally had a good week, but the rest is not really startable. I don't know that you can count on Algier or Pirine to be your starting running backs moving forward. I would be looking to get a second running back, and he's so deep at wide receiver. I think he could easily trade a Amari Cooper for a running back. There's enough Niner fans in our league where you could trade Debo and get probably a startable running back, or package Kelsey into a trade to get a tight end and a running back. I'll bet you somebody would be willing to give up a running back and their tight end for Kelsey.
See, I don't agree that he has too many wide receivers. You can start 4 in this league, which means you should have 6, 7 on your bench. There's many wide receivers. PPR, it's the highest scoring position that we have besides Kelsey. You should have as many top-end wide receivers as you can have to get through bye weeks and everything else. Running back in this league is the one thing that you can pretty much churn somebody. Anybody gets over 5 or 6 points with your stud wide receivers. Alex has been doing it for a couple of years. You pointed that out before. It's his winning way that he does it. Running backs don't matter as much in this league. So I don't know. I like his team.
You win.
You win this round.
That's awesome. All right, Nate, let's talk about side league. Maybe today's, what does that say? Maybe today's Satan?
Yeah, his team name was originally Not Today's Satan.
Yeah.
And then,
I was like, am I reading that wrong? Maybe today's Satan. How can you fix his team? Let's talk about that.
All right, so here's the good news, Jeff. You have a 1-2 record, and you're the lowest scoring team in the league, but the highest winning record in the league is 2-1. So you're only 1 game out of first place. Okay. And also, Jeff has the number 3 waiver priority. There's quite a few players on waivers this week that he could pick up. So first and foremost, make sure you're active on the waiver wire. I don't think he's going to get Devon A-Chain, or I guess. Oh, did you guys hear this?
No.
It's not A-Chain.
Yeah, it's not A-Chain. It's A-Chan. Okay.
A-Chan.
So I don't think he's going to get Devon A-Chan. I think that's going to go to one of the guys that has the first 2 waiver priorities. But, Brandon Cooks, Marvin Mims, Quentin Johnston, who we just talked about. There's some good players on waivers that Jeff could go get. But There's one move that I can almost guarantee Jeff will not make that would be the smartest move for him to make. We are in a super flex league. Quarterbacks are at a premium. Jeff has Mahomes, Stroud, and Richardson. Now, I know Richardson didn't play last week. He had the concussion, but he'll be back next week. Stroud looks awesome. Stroud's been putting up points. Now, he could go out and try and shop Stroud and Richardson to try and get another piece. But is he going to get value for those guys? Or should he go out and dangle Mahomes?
No.
Here's a move he could make.
No.
What Jeff could do is he could start Stroud and Richardson as his QB and his super flex. He could trade Mahomes to Jamie, who needs a quarterback desperately. He could probably get a Diggs from her because she's got wide receivers on her bench that are scoring points for her right now. She could easily trade Diggs for a Mahomes, and then he'd be starting Diggs with Garrett Wilson and Pickens and London. That makes a big difference. I think that would be the one move that would put Jeff back into contention.
I disagree 100%. Keep your quarterbacks. You're 1-2. You need to have those quarterbacks for bye weeks. You got to make sure you're starting 2 studs so you can climb back into this. I don't like the quarterbacks you just listed off. I don't love the London Pickens. So trading Mahomes, I keep the guys who are making the most points. Keep your stud quarterbacks. Yeah, I disagree.
Well, you said you don't like Pickens in London, but those are his current wide receivers. So if he
I
doesn't
get
make this
it.
trade, that's who he's
But
stuck
there's
with.
tons
That's
of
who he's
free agents
starting.
out there. Quentin Johnson, Brandon Cooks, Marvin Mims. There's tons out there. I mean, there's tons and tons. And the one thing there is none of, good quarterbacks. There's good of every other position on that waiver wire.
We should put a bet on this, Matt. We should do a sim. We should do a sim and have in one version of the sim have him trade Mahomes for Diggs, and in the other version of the sim have him stick with what his current team is. And by the end of the year, let's see what the difference is in the amount of points that he scores.
You put that all together, I'll go ahead and play with you.
Man, I really wish I had a Tony Reali buzzer right now because this is turning into PTI over here or whatever that show is. What was it? The show?
Yeah, you're right.
Not PTI.
Pardon
It was
the
part of the interruption. No, it wasn't that one.
PTI.
though.
No, it was around the horn.
Around the horn. Thank
Oh,
you.
there
That's
you
the one.
go.
I couldn't think of it. Damn.
Around the horn.
Oh, wow.
I
All
need a
right.
chalkboard behind me. So right. Or that's the other one.
That's also
right,
around the horn.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's a great show. God. All right, let's move it on to Guillotine, Matt. The Tiki Monster.
Tiki Monster.
Talk about that and how you could fix his or her team.
It's very easily fix this team. Start by setting your lineup. Easy way to something. Oh wait, but Ben, maybe you can talk to that because you made the mistake. Now,
Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard.
He also has made no free agent pickups. He has $1,000. There's so many guys who lost this league last year going out with $1,000 on their bench or $950 on their bench. So dumb. Spend your freaking money. That's what it's there for. All you got to do is win 1 week. Every week, people get cheaper and cheaper to pick up. Spend your money. If you make it to the second half, you can pick guys up for $5 and $10 because everybody has a stacked team. Below your wad now. Spend it all. You got to do that. Recently, chopped to pick up is Bijan Robinson, his running mate Algier, Olave, Burks, Pickens, Michael Thomas, and Kittle. That's almost a starting team you could win with. Now, it didn't win this week, but it could win next week. But go pick up half those guys. Maybe he doesn't know how to use the waiver wire in that thing, which I've said all last year, best waiver tool I've ever used. You can list 6 guys you want to pick up, 6 guys you want to drop. It'll do all the math for you. It's like a best ball waiver wire thing. It's amazing. Watch a video, start spending your money.
So this guy, Tiki Monster, I believe that's Ryan's cousin?
Yeah,
Bill,
yeah,
right?
Bill.
So, I mean, yeah, he didn't set his lineup. He started Nick Chubb this week. He hasn't picked up any free agents, which leads me to believe that maybe Bill forgot he has a Guillotine League, right? We did this draft back in like early August, right? It's totally possible he's completely forgotten about it by now, which begs the question, is Ryan not reminding him on purpose?
Right.
Like Ryan's like, fuck him. That's my $50. Like,
Thanks for the donation.
Yeah.
Cousin be damned.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, guys, we're going to go out to our low score of the week this week, which is Sean. Man, 2 weeks in a row, guys. Let's talk to him about it. All right, guys, here we are with our low score of the week 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
Sean, man. Welcome in, Mr. Bennett.
Yeah.
You're at home this week?
I am. I'm
not on location?
Around. Yeah, and after I studied for hours on Bobby's incredible software or, desktop support techniques, I think I managed to get my head in the frame. Thank God he sent all those messages so I could figure it out.
Thank you, Bobby. You're doing a service to us all.
We appreciate that. Bobby, Sean, let's just get started. Let's just get right to this. I was looking through your team this week, and I was looking to see what kind of question I was going to ask you. And honestly, there's nothing I can ask you about your team because I just don't really think you can fix it at this moment. So I'm going to go a different direction. What would you pair with a pork tenderloin, caramelized baby carrots, and mashed potatoes? I figure something that you're good at. What would you pair with that meal?
You wanted to go pork tenderloin. Well, you're probably going to go white.
White?
I wouldn't with a pork. I'd probably go with the white wine. So I'd probably go with like a more mineral forward Chardonnay, less butter, more mineral, made in stainless steel. If you wanted to go red, you could go like a lighter, like a Pinot or a Gamay. I think would work really well with it. But the fattiness could work with a heavier one, I guess. But
yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what I would pair with it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's gonna.
Thanks for having zero faith in my team. You know,
Hey,
I
Sean.
beat Matt in Dynasty, right? You know, okay, there's other things besides the main league, right? I beat Matt in Dynasty. I won in the side league, right? I
Yes, you
stayed
did.
alive in Guillotine. All you want to focus on is the main league. Okay.
Hey, Sean, in gambling circles, there's certain narratives that people like to focus on. Like they think, if there's a revenge narrative, right? If you're playing against somebody and you used to be on their team, you're going to have a good day. Another major narrative is the birthday narrative. A lot of people like to put money on a player. They think he's going to hit a home run on his birthday, or they think he's going to score a touchdown on his birthday. Well, I know you've had a couple of rough weeks, but this weekend will be your birthday weekend. So are we buying into the birthday narrative? Or are we going to have a quick turnaround?
Oh, wait, are we still talking about the main league?
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at what I'll pull it up.
Well, I know you said.
Well, I mean, and the good news is I play Ben, so it shouldn't be that hard.
That's true. That's true. With all my injuries.
Sorry. I'm in Dynasty again. Man, see, I'm so less focused on anything. Go ahead.
In our last interview, you kind of made fun of me for not being prepared, and you're right, I wasn't. So before we met with you this week, I decided to get prepared, and I pulled some stats. I went back and looked at your birthday weekend for the last 20 years to see whether you win or lose on your birthday weekends. You want to know what I found?
I probably lose.
You're about 500.
Okay.
About 500.
Sounds about right. That sounds about me. Yeah. That's about it. I mean, looks like I've got the series on Joe coming in to it. I lead 13-11. I don't know. I don't think my team is probably going to be broken up here pretty soon. Just because even the whole thing about the beginning of the season was I was kind of top heavy, right? I had these really good guys. Well, the really good guys haven't done shit. Right. So it's not when you're not having any boom days at all, right? You end up scoring less than 100 points every week. And that's almost pretty much what I've done. So, but season's not over. It's only 3 weeks and a lot of people are 1-2 in our league. So, there's things that can be done.
Well, Sean,
I'm not buying in the birthday narrative. No, it's not happening.
I know Ben laid into you pretty hard at the beginning. So I had a question for you. Ben sits at 3-0. There's 2 other teams like that. He is like 100 points behind the other team at 3-0. He has a team that is starting Gus Edwards, Josh Palmer, and Sky Moore. Do you think he has any business being 3-0, and do you think he'll stay there?
Well, if it kind of is going into your questions about the video, I obviously didn't record a video because I knew I was going to be on the podcast. I didn't need to have a video on there too. And I don't know if Bobby sent his silly little poll out to everyone before the game.
We all got it.
Yeah, and it took me all day to even care to respond. But I didn't pick Ben as being the fraud. I don't think. I think I picked Ryan. I think that was an easy one, right? So I don't know if he has any business. I'll be honest with you. There's probably a reason why I'm not doing so well. I haven't been paying the closest of attention either. So it gets to later in the week and I start doing things. We got some, things going on. And, so Ben, yes, you have all the business in the world being 3-0 as far as I'm concerned. But yeah.
So you guys heard it here first. Sean got the name wrong, but he's saying Dre's team has no business being 3-0. You heard it here first, Dre.
Didn't he just lose? Didn't he lose?
Yeah.
This week.
Well, Sean, happy early birthday. I will see you this weekend. And I know you're not going to be watching a lot of football because we're going to be wine tasting and brunching and doing all that fun shit. So, hopefully things are better for you this week than they've been the last 2 weeks.
Let's hope so. I'm going to start probably trying to trade some people. So everyone look out, I guess.
All right, man. Well, thanks for being here, man. We appreciate you and good luck this week and happy birthday, man.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, brother. All right, guys, we're going to move on to our high score of the week. This week is Alex. Congratulations, my man. 209.18. That's a huge number. And unfortunately, again, we aren't able to get Alex on the show live, but the man himself was able to send us a video, and we're going to show it to you right here.
Nice try, booby. Sucks when you think you got it in the bag and you put up a good... Hang on, got a call from Nate. Hello?
Hey, Boogie, got a minute?
I'm actually recording. You You want to be on my show instead?
Sure.
All right. What can I do you for?
Well, as you know, I squeaked by this week with a win, and it's given me time to, how should I say this? Reflect. And I don't think I like this karma. You know, I mean, I see you having your dominant season, and it's clear a man among boys in this league.
Go on.
I don't know. I just feel like everything would be better if the truth was, out there.
I mean, what are you saying here, Commish? You got something you want to admit to?
So, while I'm really just here to speak for myself, you should probably know that none of us really wanted to go back to Texas a third year in a row. And I feel like, and maybe I'm just in my head a little bit here, but I want you to know that the trophy probably does belong back in Texas this season.
Wow. I mean, this is a bombshell. This is unbelievable. You know I'm recording, right? Nate, you there?
Sorry, I was painting my toenails.
So come on, man, give us details. I mean, you made this dirty trade. It causes you to win the league. I mean, what happened?
So Ryan, or Bubby Hub, as Champ calls him, had the original idea. And I was on board, but in hindsight, and you should know this, I gave up way more in the end.
Not to cut you off, but I mean, you clearly got the better of this trade, right? I mean, you obviously won.
The best way I can describe it is that there are regrets in fantasy football. I mean, that's one thing. But there are sometimes bigger regrets in life. And the two sometimes overlap.
Are you saying, what are you saying? There was more to this dirty trade?
All I'm saying is when you owe someone something, it sounds good when you make the deal. But when you're in the camper and he's drunk and ready to collect, it's a different story.
Whoa, buddy, whoa. I'm going to have to cut you off here, big fella. It's a kid's show.
Look, the details don't matter. Just know that if it wasn't for your relentless ability to win, I think I speak for all the league when I say that you are by far the most feared competitor in our league. And, we will probably have to figure out another way to cheat if someone else wants to win this season. I mean, what more can I say?
Yeah, I certainly appreciate this phone call, I guess. Is there anything else you want the league to know?
Once again, I'm sorry. And don't forget to vote for Donald Trump.
Well, it looks like that phone call took up all the time we had this week. Congrats again to yours truly for having the big nuts twice in 3 weeks. Y'all keep winning. I'll see y'all.
He grabbed my wiener. I can't believe I made a champ segment.
And we're back, guys. That was so creepy. That was like the creepiest thing.
God, Nate, that was amazing that you went on this podcast and did that. That is fucking, dude. Thank you for finally admitting it. It's gonna help everybody get over this whole issue. It's gonna, dude. You moved everything forward. Thank you.
Listen, I'm on record. Maybe not to the rest of the league, but definitely to you two guys, of saying that I was getting a little tired of Alex's hillbilly bit, right?
Yeah,
I said it kind of was starting to feel like maybe an old, tired SNL sketch where it's like, it's not funny anymore, but they keep putting it on every season because middle America fucking laughs and fucking shits their britches over it.
Yeah.
I fucking completely changed my mind. This was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did it. I assume he used some sort of AI or something.
Mm-hmm. Man, AI is taking over this podcast, baby. Look out.
That's pretty scary. He fed my voice into it, so it like figured out how to talk like me. That's
it sounded
awesome.
So good. Most of it. Some parts were off a little bit.
Yeah.
There were some parts. Dude, if I wouldn't have known, I would have thought you said it. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It gets your inflection. It gets everything. Like the way you speak. There were some.
None of the words it said were right. All the words were wrong, but it sounded like you.
That being said, I still stand by my point. Come up with a new character, Alex. You're a funny guy. You do funny voices. Maybe even come up with a new bit. The whole collusion thing's kind of tired. It's a little old. Maybe something else will be funnier. But God, that was that had me in tears when I was watching.
Alex, Nate is on his own. I love him. Keep him coming. Don't change a fucking thing. Maybe lean into the accent a little bit more, dude.
But don't lean into it. It's getting harder and harder to understand.
Keep him coming. And knowing that it bugs people on the podcast that I host with, I love it even more. Bring him.
The accent was better last year. It's getting a little too McConaughey this year. It's getting a little harder to understand. But
I will give him credit for one thing. In that little bit that he recorded for us, he says that that he's the most feared competitor. Does he say all time?
You said that.
Yeah, I said that.
You said that. Come
Yeah,
on.
I said that. I will give him credit for this. Listen, Alex put up 209 points again this
Fucking
week.
A.
This year, he's averaging 189 per week. If
Yeah.
he averages 189 per week the whole season, that will by far shatter the all-time record, which,
Okay.
by the way, I looked today, he owns the current record. I used to own the record for many years. I had the highest scoring average, but he broke this back in 2020, and he's been holding it ever since. But I think
He's
it's
always
like
got to talk about himself every time. He
I
can't
think-
let it go.
yeah. I
I'm
think
teasing.
Alex holds it, and it's 156 points if I'm not mistaken. So scoring
Ugh.
189 per week right now is just completely shattering that record. If he wins the championship again this year, if he breaks that record this year, you know what? It's hard to argue. 3 out of the last 4 years with these kind of points that he's putting up, it's hard to argue that he's
Dynasty!
the best competitor in our league right now, right? It's really
We'll see.
difficult to argue against.
We're a long ways away from that. That's a lot of football left to play.
I mean, right now, I mean, especially after this week, I mean, it's hard to argue. It's hard to argue with this week's results, right? Mostert huge, Hill huge, but you know, when the Dolphins have an off week, there's Alex's game.
Well, guys,
You know what I
let
mean?
me ask you this. I think
Let's be honest. Let's
I
be
think
honest.
there's
His team's tied to the Dolphins, so if
There's
the
a-
Dolphins have a bad game, he's
He's
not
only got
gonna
the
be-
one. Oh, he's got the 2 Dolphins. You're right.
there's
Yeah.
a bigger conversation. I think is I've noticed, and what I see anyways, is the scores are way up this year for a lot of our teams. It seems like we're scoring more. I mean, we had 2 over 200 as a 193 to 176. You know, we have a lot of big scores this year. We had a 156. We had a one. You know, Nate's game is 162, 159. Half our league is scoring over 159 points this week.
That doesn't
That's
seem that
not-
high.
What?
159, 166. I mean, those are okay. Those are normal scores. The Alex doing 200 twice. high.
Okay, we'll look it up for next week. I think we put up way more points the first 3 weeks this year than we did the first 3 weeks last year. It just seems to me scores are way up, and that's besides just the Dolphins game.
I'm normally right around there every week, so I don't know. Just
Why
seems
you always
normal
gotta talk
for
about
me.
yourself, Ben. Why you always gotta
I
talk about
didn't
yourself?
say, I didn't
It's all
say that.
about you.
I didn't say that. That was my brother who's.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do that to him next time he talks about himself too.
Do it.
Always talking about yourself.
Listen, Ben, can we put a ticker on the side, and each time one of us defends our team, we just go 1-1-1-1. See where we are at the end of the season.
That should be that's
Yeah.
our version of
Because
part
it's
of
not
the
about our teams.
or,
We're supposed to be talking about everything else. So yeah, keep track of how many times I do that. Fuck yeah.
There's a show that I listen to. It's a fantasy show, and one of the hosts is a Cowboys fan. And every episode, he goes into a tangent about the Cowboys, and his co-host always hits a button. It's "How about them Cowboys?" And it's like 1 time, and then later in the show, 2 times, 3 times. Every time he goes on a tangent about the Cowboys, it's hilarious.
I'm telling you, man.
That's funny.
We should our talk about ourselves button or whatever we call it. Whatever we call it, we'll figure that out.
Anyways, Alex, listen. You can bust my balls all you want. I'm giving you credit. You are off to an amazing start this year. You're definitely the team to beat this year.
Yeah.
And listen, I still think I have a chance to catch you, but it's going to be a tough battle. I just talked about myself again.
Ding. Oh, I need a ding. That's what I needed.
It'll be like a musical segment at that point. Ding, 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 ding.
It'll be like playing the bells. All right. Well, hey, dude, let's talk about our bad beat jackpot. 2 weeks in a row, guys. We've had this. Yeah, talk about it, Nate.
Yeah, Bobby had a great week as well. He scored 201.76. God, that's got to be a heartbreaker scoring that many points and losing. I don't think anybody's ever scored over 200 and lost before. I'm not sure about that, but
I don't think so.
that's got to be a record. So Bobby's record in the league now is 1-2, but he's definitely a force. He's a team to contend with, putting up 200 points. So I wouldn't be too worried if I was Bobby. But yeah, he won the bad beat jackpot. So 2 weeks in a row. It's another small jackpot. $10 this time, Bobby.
$10. Hey, $10 is $10.
Okay, maybe next year we should vote in $50 minimum. Just anytime he gets one, it starts with $50. Something like that.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it out of the other jackpot, right?
So
If we need it, make
We
sure
have
it's a minimum of 50.
money to spend. We have so much in our coffers. Let's just figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds
Or
like
maybe
a good idea.
if you do the bad beat jackpot, not only do you get the $10, but everybody has to throw in an extra $10 on top of it. So that's an extra $140.
So it's
right?
a progressive. It's a progressive.
Oh.
Just
It's
not really progressive,
but it
right?
also I just take $10 off of everybody's degenerate bucks. Everybody loses the $10. you're all throwing it in. So it's easily $140 right there.
I don't hate that, but I still think we can do better.
I mean,
I
dude,
don't hate that. I don't hate that.
that's actually, I mean, that'd be a nice
no.
that'd be a nice chunk of change to win, and it would make that loss feel a little bit better. Definitely.
And the $10 off of everybody's degenerate bucks. I mean, some of these guys owe $500-$600 at certain points through the year.
No.
An extra $10 isn't going to hurt them. So yeah, I mean, why not?
If we come up with nothing else, I'd vote on that for sure. I'd vote for that. Yep.
Yeah. Let's
like
put the
that
poll
rule.
up right now for the next Bad Beat Jackpot.
Question of the week.
Hey, there you go. Question of the week.
Hey, listen, like I said, I'll say it. I say it now. I said it before. We love changing shit mid-season. So
oh hell yeah! In the pod, in the league, everywhere.
anywhere we can. All right, guys, let's move on to our rivalry statement, which we don't really have this week. We don't have any, but Nathan, but Alex and Adam still owe us one, so that's why we're talking about it real quick. So just get that into us as soon as you guys can, because we'd love to play that on the pod.
Well,
and Nathan, talk.
Yeah, Adam actually has to read a statement that was prepared by Alex, but now we've learned something today. Adam doesn't actually have to participate for Alex to accomplish this.
Right.
Very true.
Then why did you?
So yeah, we should be expecting that video. Alex, get on that. Get us a prepared statement from Adam as soon as possible.
The problem is he probably he has a lot of Adam's. He could probably go back and get Adam's old stand-up, his old stand-up stuff, and put that in there. Yeah, that would be great. That's just, can we talk about how scary this is, though? The fact that Alex has the power to do that for any of us. Like, he could put a whole podcast out with none of us being a part of it.
Dude, Alex's it was good, but the overall bigger thing. Think about being a 16-year-old kid right now. You'd never know the rest of your life was real and fake ever again. The rest of your life, scary as hell for the bigger picture, dude.
Alex only used my voice, but he could have done a deep fake. He's got enough pictures of me. He could have done or even just used the podcast and done a deep fake of me actually saying those words.
Yeah.
So
although I love the new AI music coming out. The new AI music is fucking fire, dude. I love some of the rap battles they're putting together between old presidents and shit, and just some of the stuff. Funny, dude. They're really funny.
All right, guys, it's time for one of our favorite new segments of this podcast. It's an old segment, but we retitled it, so it's now new and fun.
New to us.
It's new to us. It probably won't happen, but it'd be pretty fucking cool if it did. And last week's title got a little messed up on the podcast. It tucked in between things. It was weird. It looked funny. But let's talk about it right now. This week's game, Thursday night, Lions at Packers. And we're going to make some predictions right here. I'm going to start mine off with my thing that probably won't happen, but it'd be pretty fucking cool if it did, is I'm going with Jahmyr Gibbs and Laporta both having 100-yard games this week. Both of them having a 100-yard game, and neither of them have hit 100 yet this season. So that's why it's a bold prediction for me this week. They're both going to do it in the same game, first time in their careers. Boom, nailed it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, at first when you said it, I didn't think it sounded that bold. But if you're correct that neither one of them has actually done a 100-yard game in their entire career, obviously they're both rookies, and they both do it for the first time in the same game, that'd be pretty fucking cool if it happened.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They haven't done it. I checked their stats. They haven't done it. So they're both rookies.
Did Laporta have like 85 this week or something?
84.
84, yeah. Big week.
So
big week
he's creeping. He's having big weeks, but he's not there yet, and Gibbs hasn't done it either. So I think if they can both do it in the Thursday night game against the Packers, whose defense is ranked 17 in the league. They're not great, but they're not horrible. They're kind of middle of the road. So I think if they can pull that off, that'd be pretty fucking cool if they did.
Yeah. I'm going to go with a player that's on my fantasy team. Ding, ding. The Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He hasn't had a true breakout yet this year. I'm going to go ahead and say it probably won't happen, but it'd be pretty fucking cool if it did. Sun God, 3 touchdowns this week.
Yeah, I would love that. That would be huge. I got him on my fantasy team, or on my dynasty team. Woo! I need those points.
Yeah, and my prediction for it probably won't happen, but it would be pretty fucking cool if it did, is the Packers throw for over 400 yards in this game. The Lions have a great run defense. I don't think they're going to be able to run on them. I don't know even the dump offs to Aaron Jones are going to work, but I think Jordan Love, I said it earlier, he's having a great season, a great start. I think it's a coming out party. I think he's just going to drop bombs.
And after his first win last week at Lambeau, it's his first career win there. He's stacking them up. You know, maybe he can really, man, that'd be huge for him.
Yeah, especially in a short week. To do a 400-yard game coming off a short week, your first season, only 4 games into the season, be a big statement.
Well, and it's not a guarantee that Christian Watson's coming back this week. So
Jaden Reed, Dobbs, Toure, Musgrave. You know, I probably should have made something about Musgrave because it's probably gonna be his coming out party. That's probably how he gets to the 400 yards.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Is it only a bold prediction because of who it is? Because 400 yards. I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks that throw for 400 yards. You're just saying because it's Jordan Love, it'll be his biggest game in his career. That would be pretty
short week is a big part of it. I just think that 400 yards on a Thursday would be a big thing for he's not a rookie, but a first-year quarterback.
Yeah,
that'd be a big
first year as a starter.
And Detroit's defense is good this year too. I mean,
their defense looks good.
Yeah, so I mean, and their pass defense hasn't never been that bad recently either. They got Slay, they got some guys back there. You know, they got some good corners. So yeah, that'd be interesting. All right, well, guys, that was it for. It probably won't happen, but it'd be pretty fucking cool if it did. And we'll see if those things turn out for you guys. All right, let's move it on to our question of the week. Let's remind you guys of last week's question. Last week's question was, of the 4 undefeated teams, Alex, Dre, Ben, and Ryan, which one is fool's gold? And part 2 of that question is, of the 4 winless teams, Joe, Steve, Nate, and Matt, which one is a diamond in the rough? And I'm going to toss it to you, Matt. You go first on this one. Talk about it.
Yeah, so of the 4 undefeated teams, Alex, Dre, Ben, and Ryan, I personally think because the low scores have been piling up, I like Alex's team. Dre has no, I change it. Dre. He's fool's gold. I was going to say Ben, but then I remember going back. I think you scored like 50 more points than him on the season. So yeah, I'm going to say that it's Dre.
So we heard from Sean a moment ago in the low segment say that he received a text from Bobby taking a poll. Right. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we've played Bobby's video yet. We will in a moment. Right. But Bobby also sent me the same text, and I'm pretty sure he sent it to you guys as well.
Yep.
And he was taking a poll. And I assume that the reason Bobby was taking this poll is because he's the only one that responds to these questions. And so I thought maybe he was going to actually do something with the poll and show the poll results, which he didn't do. So spoiler alert, we're not going to see his poll results. But I gave him my answer, and I feel like my answer was right. I agree with Matt. Dre is definitely the fool's gold amongst those teams that was 2-0. But Bobby had the fucking nerve to reply back to me and told me my answer was wrong. Listen, buddy, are you taking a poll? He was like, that's the wrong answer. The right answer is, and he fucking told me that Ryan's the fool's gold. Fuck you, Bobby. So listen,
I got the right answer because he didn't tell me I was wrong.
Yes.
No. He texted me the question and I didn't respond. So then, 10 minutes later, he then sent me the answer. Yeah. Same as you, Nate. Same as you. He was like, by the way, the answer's Ryan.
Well, listen. First of all, didn't Ryan beat Dre this week?
He did.
Yeah. And Dre was undefeated last week. He had a 2-0 record. Did you know that I have more points than Dre right now with my 1-2 record? Did you know that Dre is only outscoring 3 teams in a 14-man league? He's got the 4th lowest scoring total in the entire league. That's obviously fool's gold. And by the way, Dre, I liked his team a little bit after the draft, but not only is he a low-scoring team, but he lost Nick Chubb. So now his running backs are Kendre Miller and Tony Pollard, who we know the wheels are going to fall off at some point. Dre, I'm sorry, buddy, but it's going to be a long season for you. You are fool's gold, and this will not be
he just got Roshan. He should be fine.
Listen, I still like Roshan, but
so do I.
Roshan is also still a bear, right?
Yeah.
He is a bear. Yes. Let's just round it out because I was going to pick Dre as well. So let's just we've all said enough. Move it on, Matt, to your pick of the who's a diamond in the rough this week or this season so far.
A diamond in the rough between Joe, Steve, Nate, and myself?
Yeah, Joe, Steve, Nate, and Matt, yourself. Yes, the 4 winless teams.
Honestly,
well, not anymore.
Even if it wasn't my team, ding, 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 I would pick my team. I still think I have the pieces. Tua is a way better quarterback, way more valuable than where I drafted him at. I got receivers with the Mike Williams. I got Quentin Johnson I'm going to be bringing up. I'm going to have to trade receivers away this week because I actually have too many to legally be on my team. So I love what's happening in my team right now. So, yeah, I'm going to go with me. I love my receivers.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to talk about my team in this segment. Ding.
Yes.
Only when we ask. You can't bring up yourself.
I mean, if you don't answer that it's your own team, then what the fuck are you doing, right? We're only on week 3. Of course I think it's my team.
Yeah.
Just like Matt, I'm confident in my team. I've had some bad injury luck. Cooper Kupp hasn't played yet this year. Jerry Jeudy's just now rounding into form. I've got a rookie that's probably going to be starting me for the first time next week. Mm-hmm. I've got some really good pieces. So I definitely think it's my team. But of course, Bobby told me I'm wrong on that one too. So
who did he tell you?
He says, basically my premise is that everyone will pick Ryan and Steve unless they pick themselves. So the correct answer is Ryan and Steve.
Yeah, that's the same text I got.
So, hey, Nate, with your Jerry Jeudy rounding into form, I did some deep dive on that because you and I were texting about it this weekend because I have him in Dynasty. Sean Payton is scripting 100% of his first quarter plays, and that's when Sutton got all the run. So when Russell needed to find somebody later in the game, he found Jeudy. So that's where he's looking. But this first quarter was scripted. That's why I went that way.
Yeah, Sean Payton, he's been confounding the way he's treating this team so far. I used to think Sean Payton was a good coach, but boy, does he look bad. Another bit of Jeudy news, though, that came out this morning is that he is on the trade block.
I heard that.
Yeah, Sean Payton is looking to rebuild. I think they see that they maybe don't have the pieces this year. He wants to acquire some draft capital. And so Jerry Jeudy is the most logical piece to trade. He's going to be a free agent anyways. So it'll be, hey, what if Jerry Jeudy ends up on a team with a dynamic quarterback? That could be
God, send him to the Chiefs, man. Send him to the Chiefs. They need a receiver.
Oh, they need a receiver bad.
That would be so sick there, dude. Oh, man.
He'd be a beast for them. He'd be a beast for them for sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Steve. That's who my diamond in the rough is. I was looking at his team. Been looking at his team all week. You can't go wrong with Hurts. Cooper's been really solid for Cleveland this year. Debo, yes, I know he's questionable right now with a little injury, but I and then he's got Kelsey. He's got Njigba. I think Steve's team is, he's got Jordan Love on the bench. He's got some backup depth there with Breida and Pirine. So yeah, I like Steve's team this year, and I think I think he's the diamond in the rough out of those 4. So
well, I just beat him without Kupp.
Well, that's fine. Everybody, every dog has its day, bro.
Yeah, I talked up Steve's team earlier too. I'm with
by
you.
the way.
Good job, Steve. You're the best 0-3 team in the league. You know what? I will say this.
You are the best 0-3 team.
Yeah, there's no other 0-3 team that's as good as Steve.
Better than Steve. Yeah. I thought that was the whole point of this thing. There's nobody better than Steve at 0-3.
No 0-3.
Hey, what's up, degenerates? It's Smokey Joe here. Well, let's see. I got to take... Fool's Gold's got to be Dre. I know he's got the 3 wins, but he's only the 4th ranked in points and 6th on the breakdown. So definitely some Fool's Gold there. And then Diamond in the Rough, not quite ready to give up on good old Smokey Joe just yet. So I'll take the Diamond in the Rough for myself. Good luck, y'all.
Can we listen to Bobby's video now, or?
Yeah, we should probably watch that right now.
So, which team is the diamond in the rough, and which is Fool's Gold? Let's just take a peek here. One team goes against guys scoring 103 every week, and that, my friend, is an uncut diamond.
All right, guys, next week's question of the week. Do you guys want to keep doing this segment? If you do, send us a submission this week explaining to us why we should keep it going.
Or if you don't want to see it, send us a video telling us why we should cut this bit altogether.
There it is. Yes. There it is. Oh, man. So good. All right, let's move it on to our last segment of the day, guys. We're here. The lightning round. This is going to quickly become everybody's favorite segment, I think, because you're going to get some really good information here from our two analysts here on the pod. Last week's results. If you remember correctly, we kind of gave you the top three at each position, and then the two guys here were trying to give you somebody you could sneak in there and maybe overtake those three guys who are supposed to be the top three guys this week. So last week, Matt said Dak, who came in at QB 20, CD, who was at wide receiver 47, Ramondre, who ended up at RB 31, and then his closest bet this week was Freiermuth, who ended up at tight end 8. Got that touchdown at the end of the game.
That's stinky. Stinky.
Yeah, not great. And let's remind you of Nathan's. Nathan's had Herbert or Cousins. He actually picked it 1 and 2 this week, so you nailed it, Nate. You got that one.
Yeah, no hedging bets from now on. One pick.
I said Herbert or Cousins, and they finished 1 and 2.
I mean, it's pretty damn close. Okay, one answer from now on. Debo ended up at wide receiver 10. Josh Jacobs, who, God damn it, I really hoped to have a better game, ended up at RB 20. And then Waller, who Nathan's still waiting for to have that big blow up game.
The dead walrus. Yeah.
It's weird, man. That guy was so dynamic for the Raiders, and he's just nowhere to be found.
He hasn't been that in a couple of years. He did win summer camp though, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, he won summer camp.
Summer camp. Well, that's what we should refer to it from now on. Summer camp.
Part of the reason that Waller was such a highly thought of player in the offseason was because of his usage. He was getting just peppered with targets all throughout the summer and in the preseason. And in the last game, he still got peppered with targets. He just dropped them all. I don't know if you guys watched that. They just rolling right through his hands. Like, what the fuck? So, I don't know.
That's weird.
I don't know.
Now, all right. Well, let's see how you guys do this week. We're going to talk to you guys about our highest projected players this week for each position, or the top, offensive positions. We're going to start out with quarterback, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Justin Herbert. Who do you guys think you could squeeze in on top of those guys this week?
I think Brock Purdy. He's got a great matchup. He's got a history of throwing multiple touchdowns in a game.
That's as close to a ding as I can get. Ding.
Yeah, and he's playing. He's got a great matchup. They're playing at home against Arizona. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think he's going to throw 3 touchdowns, and I think he will be a top 3 quarterback this week.
All right.
Well, I appreciate you leaving me the free square, because if Mahomes is out there, ever out of the top 3, I don't care who he's playing, I'm going to take him. So it seems like a layup to me. Mahomes at 4, projected to be top 3. I'm there.
All right, let's move it on to running backs. Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, really, and Tony Pollard. Those are your top 3 projected. And who do you think you're going to sneak in? That should be an easy one. Sneak somebody past Josh Jacobs. Anybody can get past Josh Jacobs right now.
You know what? I think I'll take this one, and I'm going to sneak all the way down the list. I think even out of the top 10, I think that Ken Walker Monday night against the Giants, even though Charbonnet is still going to look good in that game because I love Charbonnet, I think Ken Walker could be up there, man. He looks so good. Bring him out on prime time. Let's see that.
I love Ken Walker. It's like a fucking substitute teacher, or something. Just Ken Walker. Anyways, go on.
I'm going with my boy Bijan Robinson. He only scored 10 points last week, but he does look good, and I think he's got a good matchup this week. He's playing against Jacksonville. They're playing in the early window, so you actually have to wake up. If you're in the West Coast, you got to wake up at 6:30 to watch this game. So
in London, right? They're in London.
Yeah, they're in London.
Yeah.
And we will be out partying on Saturday night, so I will probably sleep in and miss that game. But I'm hoping to wake up to 30 points from Bijan.
Set your lineup Saturday night.
Woo! That's a big ask right there. All right, let's move it on to wide receivers. My man Devontae Adams, he's up there up the top. Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allen. Keenan actually being the top scorer, or did Reek outscored Keenan this week? I don't remember exactly, but I know Keenan put up a big number. So Matt, who you think's gonna? Good luck with this one. Who do you think's gonna take over those 3 guys?
Actually, I'm gonna go with the guy who was drafted 1 overall in the freaking league. You guys are gonna give me 2 layups this week. Well, not. I'm taking this one. I'll go Justin Jefferson. I'll put him up there.
He struggled at the beginning of this week's game. He didn't show up at all.
He was an average quarterback, not a good one.
I feel like you're giving me the layup. Actually, we got a big primetime game against two high-powered offenses. Last week we saw Miami put up 70 points. They're not going to do 70 points again this week, but they are playing against Buffalo. It's going to be a back-and-forth shootout. Stephon Diggs is going to put up a huge game. He will be the number 1 wide receiver.
That's not a bad call at all.
Yeah. He's due too. He's due.
Yeah.
All right, let's move it on to tight ends, guys. Travis Kelce, George Kittle, and TJ Hawkinson are the 3 top projected tight ends this week. Matt, who you squeezing in?
No, I'm going to refer to Nate on this one. I really wanted to see who he picks.
Oh, okay. Nate, who you squeezing in?
Listen, I'm going to keep going with him until he hits it. Darren Waller. He's playing on,
Damn. All
dude,
right.
he's playing on Monday night, right? He's got the whole world looking at him. It's time for him to have his real breakout. I think Darren Waller's going to have a big game. He'll be a top 3 tight end this week.
Dropsy Waller.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm going to go with the guy who's going to finish in the top 3 of tight ends on the season as a rookie, Sam
Jared
Laporta.
Everett. Oh, who'd you say? Sam Laporta?
Laporta.
Sam Laporta.
Yep.
Yeah.
And said Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett.
I almost wanted Parham because that dude's catching everything, but whatever. You know?
Parham is catching everything.
I know.
I'm like, I almost dropped Everett this week to pick up Parham, but then I'm like, can I do that? I don't know. Well, guys, that's it for our lightning round. I think you guys have some solid picks, and we'll see how you guys do next week. I don't know. Final thoughts for this week's podcast, guys. Got anything for us before we wrap it up and get it out of here?
Listen, last week I told you guys come on over to watch football. I have to go ahead and put the close sign on the door. Football room is closed this weekend. Portia and I will be traveling up to Paso Robles to celebrate Sean's birthday. We're going to be doing wine tasting all weekend. We will not be home on Sunday. I will be watching the Niner game on my iPad on the drive home.
Nice.
Well, then, so my weekend is going to be spent trying to figure out when Sean and Nate are the drunkest and sending them trades and see if I can pull something off before the game this weekend.
Yeah, good idea.
Drunken trading. Love it, guys. All right. Well, hey, that's a wrap on this week's Ordinary Fantasy Pod. See you guys next week.